Yesterday, I posted my year-end reading list and review, and now today it's time to do the year-end movie list in review. Now, for this list, I'm counting only new movies I saw this year. So movies that I've rewatched, I'm not counting. Also, on this channel, I've been doing a lot of old reviews, reading out movie reviews that I wrote years ago on the weblog as part of my so-called scripted movie review series. Those don't count, just new movies that I saw this year, of which there were only two. So this is probably going to be a short video. There was Star Wars, the episode 9, and there was the Trial of the Chicago 7. Star Wars episode 9, what was the name of that again? The Rise of Skywalker, I believe. I gave 5 out of 10 stars to. That 5 out of 10 stars is me being slightly generous, perhaps, but I do feel that in terms of watchability, and in terms of being able to enjoy or being entertained by a movie, it is legitimately at least 5 stars. Now, granted, the story is a mess, and the incoherent way that this trilogy is now hanging together now that it's completed is infuriating. But in terms of this one movie just being able to watch it, I think it's watchable, and I think it's mildly entertaining. So 5 out of 10 stars it is. The other movie is The Trial of the Chicago 7, the Aaron Sorkin movie, which I gave 8 out of 10 stars to. I really enjoyed that movie. As a history buff and somebody who has been, since my college days, interested in the historical trial of the Chicago 7, I thought there were a few missed opportunities where I'm like, oh, why didn't they include that, or why didn't they include that? And I do understand that when you're making things into a movie, Hollywood wants to make things more dramatic than they actually are, than they actually were, or something like that. But there are a number of cases where I thought that the actual history was more dramatic than what Aaron Sorkin was portraying on screen, and so those choices puzzled me. There were a number of cases, but the top 3 that stand out were Bobby Seale being bound and gagged, which in the original history went on for 4 days and was a lot of back and forth between Bobby Seale and the courtroom bailiffs and the judge. But in the movie, it only happened for one brief instance. That being said, I can understand it sort of because it did help the pace of the movie get on. You wrap up Bobby Seale's story arc quicker rather than dragging it out for 4 days. So I guess from a standpoint of keeping the narrative momentum of the script going, I can understand it, but it definitely lost some of the drama from the original story. As this is the danger of doing this unscripted, I've all of a sudden just blanked on the name. Rennie Davis. Rennie Davis getting beaten unconscious by the Chicago police, and that leading Tom Hayden to give his inflammatory speech, was much more dramatic in real life than the version Aaron Sorkin portrays on the screen. And then the other thing I thought was the leading up to Bobby Seale being bound and gagged, Bobby Seale's back and forth with Judge Hoffman, where they were arguing over the portraits of American founding fathers on the courtroom walls. And Bobby Seale says, you know, you've got these white people up on your walls. They were slave owners. How am I supposed to get a fair trial when you've got slave owners on the wall behind you? And Judge Hoffman says, I never thought I'd see the day when a judge was criticized for having a portrait of George Washington in his courtroom. And that struck me as being a moment which is very salient nowadays, with, all these statues coming down and all these debates about the Founding Fathers' legacy and political correctness on campus and renaming, university buildings because you don't want them associated with slave owners. So I thought that would have been an interesting moment to include. Although I do understand that this particular movie has been like in development for 15 years. So if not everything is relevant to the headlines now in 2020, that's possibly because it's been written over like a 15-year period or however long Aaron Sorkin was working on this movie. I don't remember. I'm going to stop myself because I'm falling into the habit of re-reviewing this movie. And I already reviewed it. I already reviewed it in a long review on this very channel. So I'm not going to get into all that again. I'm just going to say it gets an 8 out of 10. Some missed opportunities with the real history, but I thought it was incredibly entertaining to watch, and Aaron Sorkin's dialogue was entertaining. So that's it. Best movie I saw was The Trial of the Chicago 7, 8 out of 10 stars. The worst, the worst here is comparative, and I only saw 2 movies, is Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker with 5 out of 10 stars.